Today, I want to talk about something that comes up in almost every school building I walk into, and that's the confusion between sensory needs and behavior. If you've ever heard or said, well, that's sensory, or they just need more sensory, this video is for you. Because while sensory needs are real and important, labeling every behavior as sensory can actually delay the support students really need. So in schools, how we define the problem determines how we respond. So if we assume that everything is sensory, we default to tools like fidgets, movement breaks, sensory rooms. If we assume everything is behavior, we default to consequences, charts, compliance-based strategies. But when we don't slow down and figure out what's actually driving the behavior, we risk missing the root cause. And that's when students get stuck. When something is truly sensory, we're talking about how the nervous system processes input. That might look like overreacting to noise, touch, or visual support, maybe seeking intense movement or pressure, maybe difficulty staying regulated in busy environments. These students aren't being defiant. Their nervous system is overwhelmed or under-responsive, and they're trying to cope. Sensory supports help regulation, but regulation alone doesn't automatically teach behavior or skills. So now let's talk about behavior. A lot of behaviors we see in the schools are really about communication, task demands, skill gaps, maybe unclear expectations, avoidance, refusal, shutdown, even aggression. Those are often messages, not sensory overload. So if a student doesn't know how to ask for help, doesn't understand the task, or feels the demand is too high, behavior becomes communication. So here's where it gets tricky. Sometimes, frequently, it is both, sensory and behavior. A dysregulated nervous system can make it harder to access skills, and missing skills can increase dysregulation. The mistake teams make is jumping straight to tools without asking what skill is missing, what is the student trying to communicate, what part of the environment is getting in the way. When we label everything as sensory, we may over-accommodate instead of teaching. We create dependence on tools, we avoid addressing instruction, expectation, or supports. Students end up with lots of strategies, but not a lot of progress. And that's not because anyone did something wrong. It's because the system didn't slow down enough to ask the right questions. So what should teams do? Before adding more supports, ask, does the student have the skill being expected? Ask, is the environment supporting or overwhelming them? Ask, are we teaching regulation, communication, and participation together? OT, PT, and speech still play a huge role here, but it's about supporting access and participation, not automatically just adding services and tools. So this week, I want you to listen for how often behaviors get labeled as sensory and pause before responding. Next week, we're going to talk about why regulation has to come before behavior and what that actually looks like in the classrooms. If this conversation sounds familiar, subscribe, share with your team, and I'll see you in the next video.